Welcome back to the Rowdy Studio. The first video after Thanksgiving. You feeling a little stuffed there, Bassmasters?
It was a good Thanksgiving, I'm not going to lie.
Bassmasters, Buzz, Cutler, a couple of items came down while we were gorging ourselves on various forms of poultry. Kurt Busch fined $50,000 by NASCAR, first of all, for flipping off somebody at Homestead, and then for his profanity-laced tirade against Dr. Jerry Punch, of all people, when all Jerry Punch wanted to do was interview him during the race.
Well, a couple things to note here. Number one, it wasn't a secret fine. And number two, this touches on one of those eternal questions that we always ask as human beings. What does it mean to be human?
It's a little deep, don't you think?
Why are we here? Will the Busch boys ever mature? I mean, really, at some point, you're just asking this question constantly. It's not a good reflection on, certainly, Penske Racing. It's not a good reflection on his sponsor, Shell Pennzoil. And at some point, you kind of got to call bullshit on the whole idea that if you're a fiery competitor, you just have no choice but to be a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, he was an asshole to Dr. Jerry Punch, of all people, one of the most respected guys in the garage for really no reason. I mean, all Jerry Punch was trying to do was his job and get Kurt Busch's sponsor a little airtime. And when you think about M&M Mars pulling their sponsorship for the last two races of Homestead, in my mind, what Kurt Busch did was far worse than what Kyle Busch did. Not that what Kyle Busch did was to be swept over the rug, under the rug, but
you know, it's almost like you got a couple guys. They're either like a tag team, or they're like playing different solos. It's like da da pa pa da, take it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so Kyle does his thing, and then he flips it over to Kurt, and Kurt does his thing, and I guess it's Kyle's turn next. I don't know.
Well, and the sort of irony or the ironic thing in all of this is poor little Brad Keselowski. All he did was share an opinion that NASCAR didn't like. And come on, Brian France. Brian France must have gotten a thesaurus for his birthday, because all he could say over and over again is, we will not let these drivers denigrate NASCAR. And what Brian France fails to understand is that fining somebody in secret for voicing an opinion you don't like denigrates the sport far more than that opinion ever could in the first place.
Okay, that's another 25 for you. First you flipped off the camera, that's 25, and now you're denigrating the sport. That's another 25.
You said bull or something like that.
Yeah, but I knew they were going to beep that out.
Oh, okay.
Or you could find me 25.
You can blur out this, right, Chris? You can blur that out, can't you?
Maybe he can.
Okay.
I think, you know, the other interesting thing about this is, where does it leave Kurt Busch heading into next season? He's lost his crew chief, Steve Addington. You have to wonder how the team feels about him at this point when he loses his cool so frequently. You know, he was talking about that, about losing his cool at the Hall of Fame recently, and he said, I almost don't know who that guy is. Listen.
You know, it's amazing what comes out in the heat of the moment when you're out there battling it out. And it's funny, I do listen to myself sometimes. I'm like, wow, I said that? That was me? And that's just that desire, that fire in the belly, that competitor that comes out and speaks. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But all in all, my crew knows that I'm going to give my car the very best every week. And there's guys that thrive in those situations, and then some people don't like it. So it's just it's a balance. I'm still trying to learn it all, but it's just because I want to win.
But come on, you have to take some responsibility for your actions.
Please, you cannot just chalk it all up to the competitive fire.
Well, that's the
and
thing.
Say it's
Who's
all
more competitive
okay
than Jimmy Johnson or Carl Edwards or some of these guys? I'm sorry, it's just not a good enough reason to be a jerk.
It's really not. And Kurt Busch's other favorite excuse is to blame it on the media. And come on. Okay, maybe some of the guys and the beat reporters that you deal with on a regular basis, they're annoying and you get tired of them. But Dr. Jerry Punch, a lifesaver, a hero, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Oh, come on, he's annoying. Silly. It doesn't matter whether they're annoying. That's part of your job. That's the bottom line. It's part of your job. Well, now, Kurt is $50,000 poor, and maybe he'll figure that out.
Well, I also think he's out of chances. I'm not sure that Shell Pennzoil is going to stick around for repeat offenses, you know, over and over and over again. So I'm sure the captain has had a little talking to Mr. Busch.
Well, there's one more thing, and then we should wrap it up. But when you're an elite athlete and you're a very talented, very successful athlete, I think you grow up feeling like you've got a little bit of rope. And I think you do. You'll get chances when you're championship caliber talent. And Kurt Busch is a championship caliber talent. And when you have that kind of talent, you will get more room to screw up than other guys or girls.
Yep.
But you don't get unlimited room. I think that's maybe the lesson in all this. That's a lesson that Kyle's learned recently, and maybe it's time for Kurt to learn the lesson as well.
I also think when you grow up an elite athlete from a very young age, you have a sense of entitlement.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's Bassmasters. I'm Buzz Cutler, and we will be back with more
Will
videos.
you stop?
He's going to blur it all out.
Rowdy.com.
But that doesn't mean you didn't just flip off our audience.
Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.